Michael Smith, let us give this game right here, what it needs. And since we're starting off talking about the Lakers, let's talk about negativity and positivity within the last clip that we just showed. I'm going to start off with something positive. I'm going to take a negative and turn it into a positive. The Lakers suck. We know that. Lakers suck. Their season's over. Forget about mathematical chances. Their season's done. They're done. Let's think about 2022 to 2023. But beyond that, Russell Westbrook.
Okay. I'll let that go for now, but go ahead.
No, don't let it go. Don't let it go. Don't let it.
No, because I don't want to interrupt your flow. I don't want to interrupt your flow.
I'll put it into the ecosystem. I'll put it into the ecosystem for a reason. It is there for your consideration and for your plucking at any point during this program. But I really want to focus on the brilliance of Russell Westbrook, not on the court, off the court. Russell Westbrook just gave a masterclass of what we've been talking about, bro. Can we start off this way?
That was great.
This is what we talk about. We had friend of the show, John Sawatsky, the interview guru, the interview scientist,
my mentor,
the maestro,
my muse. Yeah,
hey, your muse, mine. Yeah. Even though he hasn't worked with me, I'm gonna make myself his student. Russell Westbrook, maybe he's not efficient when it comes to balling out. Okay, that's not a strength. What he did was say, you still haven't answered my question. Like, get all the opinion out of it. That's what he's trying to say. You don't know how I think, bruh. Ask me a question. What were your expectations? And I'll give you an answer.
What were your expectations, and how has this season compared to those expectations?
There it is.
Out.
There it is.
Out.
That's it.
Just like it wasn't lean enough. And it had the makings of a great line of questioning. And thankfully, Russell Westbrook got to a great answer eventually. But it was like it turned into a back and forth that was unnecessary because of the assumption and the values that were introduced into the conversation. When, like I said, what did I expect? He was almost like it's almost like he was saying, "Ask me what I expected. Ask me what I expected, and then I'll tell you what I expected, and then I'll tell you how it compares."
Which would be a great Sawatsky question. What did I expect? Now it's on you.
That is a great sidebar. There are certain things as called off-the-shelf questions. And one of the basic off-the-shelf questions, as in you can always just grab it at any point in an interview, one of the most basic and effective ones is, what did you expect? And here's why it's so effective. Because the story gets good at the point of change. So before you get to the critical part of the story, you ask the subject, what did you expect? Like, going into the game, going into the day, what did you think that day would be like? And then you get to what it was actually like. And that elicits the storytelling in the subject. Not a subject is telling you a story. Not a subject is telling you how you felt. So what did you expect? Without it being rhetorical. Not, what did you expect? Not like that. But what did you expect coming into the season? It's a perfect.
What were your expectations?
It's open-ended, it's neutral, it's lean, and you let them do all the work with it.
Now, here's a Sawatsky question. Here's a question that Russell should have asked, but it's not Sawatsky. It's cheating. And the question is, why should I have to do your job for you? I mean, really, that's what it is. Why am I doing your job? And maybe I'm not so good at my job right now. In the big picture, my team is not performing the way we might think. We might think this team should perform. But right now, I'm doing your job better than you're doing your job, because I'm telling you how to ask questions. That's the best thing I saw all night from any Laker. Other than that, Mike, I have nothing.
That was the best performance from the Lakers. Was in the post-game press conference.
Was in the post-game. Yeah. Russell, professor of the practice, Russell Westbrook, over the class, 2 days a week, 75 minutes, office hours on Thursday. Somebody say Thursday. Anyway,
the story from last night was the Clippers. You're absolutely right. The story from last night was the Clippers. But it's impossible, not just difficult, but impossible not to juxtapose the state of these two co-tenants. Michael, I'm sure this is the case in Akron, Ohio. I know this was the case in New Orleans.
Shout out.
where a street where part of the street is like you're driving past me like, I want a house like that one day. Oh, I want a house like that one day. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, you get to the same street and it's like, oh, this is a completely different setup here. This is like, wait a second, like, you know what? I got to make sure, if it's too late at night, I got to make sure I use this red light as a stop sign. Same street.
That's right.
But it's like, it's like night and day on the same street.
Oh, listen.
Okay, it's like how can this be Bel Air and this be West Philly on the same street, right? It's different socioeconomic statuses with the same street address. So in crypto.com arena, I'm forcing myself to call it what they paid for us to call it. It's Staples Center, but I'm just trying to be respectful of the transaction that was purchasing the naming rights on Staples Center. But in that building, these two co-tenants who share the same living space could not be farther apart in terms of their life situations right now. The 8th and 9th seeds in the Western Conference, 8 and 9, could not be farther apart. You know what I'm saying? Could not be. And it was such a glaring juxtaposition looking at a franchise that historically has been the little brother. The Lakers have rarely envied the Clippers. A stretch here and there, Lob City years come to mind. But for the most part, even if the Clippers were doing well, even if the Clippers were signing Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but we still are Lakers. Look at the rafters. We're still a Lakers. Ain't nobody making an Adam McKay series on HBO Max about the Clippers. It's like, we're still a Lakers. But watching last night, short and long term, the Clippers are just so well set up. I mean, they play such beautiful basketball. First and foremost, they have a coach that everybody rallies behind, everybody responds to. Secondly, they have such a deep, versatile.
He should be the coach of the Lakers, by the way. He should be coaching the Lakers. But anyway, that's where he should be. That's where he belongs.
Yeah, listen, I think that's if they would have come up with the right contract, he probably would have been, if memory serves. So you're 100% right. So, wow, that was like James Brown. Like, horns.
Throw it up. Yeah.
Get a drummer. Get a drummer song.
Yeah. Like, back to the beginning.
Nice job, guys. Nice job.
Fred.
Take it to the bridge.
Fred.
Nice job, guys. There, speak, ask and you shall receive. So right on cue. So they have a coach that their organization responds to. They have a more than functional front office that fleeces the rest of the league at the trading deadline in order to get Norman Powell and Patterson. And they have a deep, versatile team that, above all else, can actually, wait for it, shoot, which is a pretty critical part of basketball. They have a deep, versatile team that can shoot. Meanwhile, what the Lakers are right now is, going back to Kings of Comedy, Bernie Mac.
Here we go.
4 minutes. That's all you're going to get. Because that's all I got. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the Lakers will give it to you in spurts. Like the second quarter, that run to end the second quarter, they'll give it to you in spurts, dog. It's not for lack of trying. It's just when you get to a certain age. I know it at 42. You know it at 52. You can't put it down the same way you used to at 32 and 22. It's just, you just ain't got it in you no more, no matter how much you try. And so the Lakers, they give it to you in spurts, little bits of excitement.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. It's funny talking about somebody else. For me, I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay, good. Hey, good for you, brother. Good for you. But so eventually, it's gonna be a 30-point lead for the other team. Eventually, they're gonna be in the hole, and that's what last night was. To, as LeBron said simply, the better team that has won 7 in a row. And so last night for me was about appreciating the Clippers, appreciating their potential. If this were a stock, now is a good time to get in. Their stock is not so high where it's like, oh man, you know what? It's out of my price range. It's like, wait a second, look how good this team is, and then look how good it could be when Powell, Leonard, and George come back, when and if they come back, either this year or next year or what have you. They're just set up. They got so much positivity around that organization now versus another organization that has lost its way, that all it has going for it is the brand.
And I think does this speak to Ty Lue or probably both? I'll answer my own question. It says a lot about Ty Lue. Says a lot about the players on the roster. That the Clippers do this thing very well. They do. You talked about off-the-shelf questions earlier. They do off-script, off-the-shelf, just kind of, oh man, that's falling off the shelf. Oh, we're in a situation we didn't expect to be. We got to catch that thing before it goes crazy. It's like any team can do well if you've got superstars who you expect to perform well. Those superstars. Did I
say Patterson earlier? I'm sorry. I think I said Patterson earlier. I meant Robert Covington. I think I said Patterson. I'm sorry.
Covington. Yeah, you did say Patterson.
I think I said. Did I say Patterson? I'm so sorry. I said Robert Covington. Robert Covington and Powell. Those two amazing trades at the deadline. Sorry. Go ahead.
But no, I'm saying, but any team, if any team with all stars or all NBA players, first, second, third team, all NBA players, and you got them situated, they're in their prime. Okay, that team is going to play well. You expect that team to play well. But what happens when both of those guys are unavailable? How do you perform then without making excuses? And the Clippers have done this twice in the last, 4 or 5 years. Once for Doc Rivers, when I think they lost Chris Paul and everybody moved it. Blake Griffin is gone. And they won 47 games. Lost in the first round, I think. But they made the playoffs with a star-less, so relatively
one of his better
roster.
Coaching jobs, yeah.
And here we are again. No Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard, no Norman Powell. You mentioned him earlier. And here they are in contention in a very tough Western Conference. Now, playoff contention. They're not going to win anybody's championship, but they know how to do this. And I think the one thing the Lakers can learn from the Clippers,
they can get the 7th seed, threaten the 6th seed.
Yeah, it's just to have a little more grit. And you know it when you see it. It's not even the numbers. It's you are getting the most out of what you have. And we have some disagreement here. Because maybe you think the Lakers, maybe you think the Lakers are getting the most out of what they have, but then you look across the hall. Well, okay, you say, well, how about them?
The Clippers, but the Clippers may not have the resumes.
Right.
The Clippers may not have the names. They may not have the names and the resumes and the accolades that some members of the Lakers have, but the Clippers have a collection of, again, versatile, really talented, good shooting players that complement one another well. The Lakers, I think, we get caught up in the who and not the how, as in who they are, you think they'd be better, but how they play, especially at this stage in their careers, I don't know that we should be looking at them thinking that there's more than what they're putting forth, in other words. I feel like they're doing the best they can, and then it's exacerbated at times. Look, Sunday night, they clearly didn't show up against the Pelicans, which is how we started the week talking about that game. So I'm not saying that there aren't periods where they don't play hard, where they don't show hunger, which I ripped them for earlier in the week, or which they fold up shop when they inevitably get down by double digits or 20 points or what have you. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying when that happens, it's that much worse. In other words, they're not as good. They were never as good, and they're not as good as we think they should be simply based off name recognition. And then you couple that with chemistry issues, at times effort and attitude issues, and you get a team that's as bad as they are. The Clippers have the opposite of all those things. They have a team that plays well off one another. They do have talent. It's just not household name talent in the same way as the Lakers have.
Well, can I go back to your example and use something that LeBron James knows very well? So where LeBron James went to high school, that's one end of Market Street. Okay, where he went to high school, that's one end of Market. And if you go down that road, and there's a road called Maple, you go down that road, they call that the Valley. And in the Valley, that valley, it's not so great. But in the other valley, in the other direction, where he moved after he got a little money in his pocket, that's the Merriman Valley. They got some nice houses there. The Lakers, they got that nice house. LeBron James is the nice house. The Clippers don't have a LeBron James.
But there's only so much one man can do. No, I'm saying there's only so much one man can do. What, I'm going to say 37? I mean, he's just as good as he has been in the last 5 years, so which speaks to his greatness that even his age can't be used as an excuse at this point. But no, I mean, what else? There's only so much one man can do. He can't put the ball in the basket for Russell Westbrook. He can't keep Anthony Davis healthy. He can't shoot better for the rest of his shooting team. I mean, Austin Reeves should not be a critical piece of this team.
Ooh,
but he is.
Lord.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, no disrespect. They shouldn't be relying on him the way they're relying on him. They don't have it. They don't have the guys. So in the meantime, they got to play through it. They can't. LeBron. We had this argument yesterday. We had it this morning. LeBron cannot shut it down as long as that team is in contention for a playoff spot or play-in spot. He cannot shut it down.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.